Hey guys, welcome back. It is time for Unpopular Opinions in Pokemon number 27. Again, if you haven't checked out Sakari's YouTube channel, there's a link in the description. He's the creator of this thread that we're reading through. So props to him. This thing never dies. It's going forever. Starting out, niche. If your entire collection has resided only on eBay and the PWCC vault and has never been in your hands, you are basically just collecting NFTs. Yeah, somewhat. And now with the eBay vault that's coming out, I guess that's even more applicable. I don't understand any of the logic behind wanting to never touch. I mean, I guess in terms of saving on taxes. And if you're going to resell it anyway, if you're just flip dipping, maybe that's an ideal scenario. Personally, I don't get it. I'd much rather have them in my possession. Collector says, a lot of people have a flawed concept of how items in the market relate to each other, and it leads to a constant outpouring of flawed analysis. Yes, the top end should be worth a effing bazillion times more than the closely related sludge underneath, and no, an 80k item won't automatically lose steam when a 4k item does, because the buyer pool is a fundamentally different class of people whose entire world works on entirely different principles. I mean, you can kind of say it the other way around too. I know a lot of the high-end items are currently in the possession of Hype Dog 69s. If those Hype Dog 69s all of a sudden find out that they're not going to make money off of their stuff and the market is coming down, we could see some Hype Dog ditches. People throwing hundreds of thousands at some random card because they just felt like it and ended up in a bro versus bro bidding war are not negatively affected by consumer confidence, popularity, layoffs, political turmoil, gas prices, electricity prices, supermarket strikes, elections, Cove, or numbers on graphs. People seem to forget that high net worth people have high net worth, not merely wealth, as long as everything in the cosmos is working in their favor. If it takes a world war or an asset freeze to disenfranchise someone, then they play a different game. So, yes and no. I feel like there's a lot of high-end purchases that are made by people that just want it regardless and don't care, but I think there's just as many, if maybe not more, in this current time where they have the money and they dump the money into it because they're under the impression that it's going to make money and they can sell it later. That's just what I'm seeing, but I don't think you can immediately discount the fact that, you know, your high-end stuff is not going to come down in value just because the mid-range stuff does as well. I think it's going to be closer related than you think. Sure, not the same ball game, but I think one could be worse than the other easily. Not necessarily one or the other. Seaside Pokemon says, apologies if this has already been said, but the Master Scroll is grossly overrated in my opinion. I understand its rarity and how it might earn the price it does, but for that kind of money you could buy some extremely historic / rare items in the hobby with far superior artwork, in my honest opinion. Shruggy boy. Yeah, I don't know. It's not for me either. Again, if that's your thing that you like to collect, then by all means, go for it. But yeah, this would be way down the list on Pokemon cards that I would like to acquire. Not even in a remote area of going to happen. And it doesn't bother me that I'll probably never purchase one. But that's the thing. Different strokes, different folks. Electro Dude. Not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but I feel the people who dislike trophy cards are the same people who can't afford trophy cards. I personally can't afford a trophy card, but I still enjoy looking at them and understand the importance they have in the hobby. There's not a lot of people that like dislike them. Maybe it's just the people that I've spoken to. But I mean, there's, like in my case, Again, personally, it's not in my realm of things that I actually want to collect. I'd much rather have a bunch of the cards that I do enjoy and towards my goals rather than a few trophy cards. There's the aspect where it's like, why would you want to purchase something that you didn't win yourself? I'm kind of in that boat. But at the same time, I appreciate the fact how rare they are. They have the history behind them. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. But then also with like price. I like some of the variants are cool, like the stamped stuff, the world stuff. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a niche thing, and some people really love it. Some people don't care for it. I'm somewhere in the middle, probably. If I had absolutely everything in English, maybe I start branching out into that. But again, then probably would get into more of the just Japanese exclusive promos and like sets and stuff that didn't come out in English, I think, before I would ever push into trophy stuff. And being a completionist, you can't really complete trophy cards. It's not a thing. There's just so many different ones, different stamps, different everything. There's no completion on that. I mean, you could say that there is, but it's not a realistic goal, I guess you'd say. Both monetarily and to be able to hunt them down and find people that are actually going to sell you one of each trophy card. Not really going to happen. Even like the snap cards and stuff like that. Just acquiring them, even if you have the money for it, to acquire the full set is just very difficult. HCWA says it's smart to buy only PSA 10s because you're more protected from increasing pop counts. It's better to own a few valuable 10s than lots of mid-value 9s. I'm going to disagree. I think there's probably, I don't have a specific example here, but I would say that there's a lot of cases where 9s were undervalued. I remember first getting into the hobby, people didn't want 9s. Meanwhile, PFM buying 9s like a crazy dude. And I'm sure some of those 9s, had you spent the same amount on your multiple 9s as the 10s, probably increased by the same number. It probably depends on the card. I don't know. And then even lower than that, there might be some situations. You're not necessarily protected from pop counts. I mean, with the 9s, there's like an artificial number of 9s because you're going to have people that are cracking those 9s to try to get 10s, but the 10s are going to be, you're probably not going to get as many people trying to upgrade to 9s. I don't know. It's an interesting thing to talk about. It's like the 9s are turning into 10s, but then the number is increasing, even though it's not a real number because those 9s got cracked and people aren't reporting them. Niche says, I love being told that I'm just jealous or too poor to have an opinion, but about literally anything. Really strong argument that wins every argument ever. Well, I got news for you. I don't have $3.5 million to spend on a case of G.I. Joe cards, but I certainly gave my opinion on that. Therese says, you don't gotta catch them all. I agree. I think this is a good new slogan for Pokemon, especially in the cards. There's so many cards. Don't feel like you need to collect them all. Even my goal of getting one of every English card is extremely, extremely difficult. So if there's certain sets that you like and you want to collect sets, just do the certain sets. Start with something smaller in terms of goals. You don't need to collect every card. You don't need to have every card. You don't even need to collect it in a set. If you just have certain cards that you like, collect those. You don't have to catch them all. And in today's day and age, the modern stuff, super, super difficult to be able to collect even the majority of a set, let alone a complete set or all of the new sets as they come out. Just be patient with those, and then singles are going to be the best answer anyway. Once we get into the next generation, the generation after that, Your Sword and Shield stuff will probably be at its lowest price in terms of singles. Brendan the Clayboy says Pokemon not producing a Slowbro EX from the original EX era was the biggest blunder in Pokemon history. I guess so, because I kind of missed out on a Mawile EX. But this is supposed to be lowercase EX. We did get a Mawile big uppercase EX. Probably just a typo. Therese says you... Wait. Okay, we got that one in there twice for some reason. We got both of those in there twice for some reason. We got a Rita fan who says gold star cards have mediocre and boring illustrations. I disagree. I like the gold star cards. I mean, I wasn't collecting at the time that they came out, so I can understand where people think that like the EX cards looked more exciting because of the silver border, more going on the card itself. But I don't know. I like the artwork. I like the subtleness. I think you can have something that's special, and it doesn't have to be too over the top, like Rainbow Rare, Trainers, Pokemon, whatever that we have now. Maybe less is more sometimes. Collector says, the gold stars have grown significantly on me since the Elder days. Back then, my problem with them was that on one hand, I found them too similar to regular hollows, and I didn't like the art extending over the borders, nor was I the biggest Fukuda fan, still am not. I wanted my flashy chase cards to be flashy. Also, as someone with limited funds, I didn't like how they were near impossible to pull. On the other hand, I found some of them to be insanely gorgeous, like Rayquaza, Regice, and Mew. Also, being a huge proponent of regular hollows, they resonated with me in that sense. It's complicated. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any of them that I particularly don't like. The rarity is a cool thing. And yeah, that's just kind of what it comes down to. SM Pratt says, gold stars should have been textured. Well, you're in luck. Celebrations had a textured one for you. Not only the people asking for the Umbreon in Hollow, but also textured. There you go. Pokemon Matt says, Rainbow Rares are a pile of steaming turd. Yeah, I think they had their place, and they should have been retired after the Sun and Moon era. Give them a nice send-off. Instead, we got now Rainbow Trainers, which shouldn't exist. Seaside Pokemon says, above all other Pokemon, Meganium is my favorite. So I guess that's probably just an unpopular opinion because Meganium being your absolute favorite. But I like Meganium. Cool Pokemon. Josh, I can't stand standard V cards in modern boxes. They're a worthless tease. Well, the standard V cards are important because those are the cost-effective versions. And without them, it's like 1 in 6 packs is a V or better. Without them, you would open a lot of packs and you would get a whole lot of nothing. If you were only going for like full arts or better, you'd only get a couple hits per box. Without those standard Vs, again, these are important. No, they're not expensive. No, they're not that hard to pull. But they're integral to the game, integral to the set. They're basically hollows. I guess they're kind of like beyond hollow rarity still. But they're basically the new age hollows. BK 2021, someone brought this up on Reddit and it astounded me. Did anyone realize that for Evolving Skies, 144 cards, which is 60.76% of the 237 cards in the set, share one slot to be pulled from? I mean, I knew it was bad, but FFS, that's actually really disgusting. The original base set had 32 out of 102 cards in the rare slot, or 31.37%. This is kind of like what I tell everyone now that's like, oh yeah, modern Pokemon is printed into Oblivion. Yeah, but I don't know. I think people realize how much product you really need to open in order to hit these like specific chase cards. It's way beyond anything. So even if they're printing 10x what they did for base unlimited, which is not happening, just the amount of scale up with the rarity of some of these cards is ridiculous. There was nothing in the gold stars were difficult. They were like one in a couple boxes or one in a few boxes. But this is crazy. We got like 1 in 800 and 1 in 600 packs kind of thing. There aren't that many people opening 800 packs of sets. It's a lot of money, and usually it's not worth it. So singles tend to be the best option. And if you can wait, then when it's not the new cool thing, your singles are going to be even less expensive. Lavender Gengar, I actually prefer the Celebrations WotC reprint to the original. No, reprints suck. Get out of here with the reprints. Other than the extended art Pikachu, which I think is really cool, that they did something different with the original art, but extended, that's cool. Reprinting them with a texture on them or a different holo pattern or a logo with the Pikachu with the 25 cheeks, it doesn't do anything for me. The cards inside a booster pack have the ability to magically change up until the moment the pack is open. True. Unless you weigh it, then it limits what it can turn into. Eevee Team. I'm getting burned out by all the evolutions being released this year. There have been well over 100 unique cards, including English and Japanese. This is definitely the case, and you can ask Saber about that because she was collecting one of each sealed product with Eevee related stuff, and then also wanted one of each copy for master sets. So this, it's everything has a friggin' evolution on it. Every promo pack, and then Evolving Skies, individual boxes. They had those V-Star boxes with the Leafeon and Glaceon. It just never ends. There's Eevees everywhere. King Boo 64 says most Kamiya is still trash. I disagree, and look forward to seeing what Kamiyas end up in the next set. It's always fun to come across them for the first time. I understand clowning on people who try to get a premium or even 2x full market value for swirls, but let's be honest, swirls do add value. I mean, it's like anything, as an off-center card adds value if you find the right buyer for it. Personally, I don't care if there's a swirl on my card or not. That's not something I'm looking for or going to pay extra for. If it's there, cool. If it's not, no big deal. I'm buying a PSA 9/10 and I see one with a swirl that's placed well and the rest of the card is normal 9/10. I'll buy that card much faster than the card without the swirl. It's done, but at the same time, if you're buying these cards to enjoy and it's a card that's especially your favorite, then I think it will always be worth it to go for that extra razzle dazzle. No, as soon as you add this razzle dazzle, that tells me you're straight from Facebook. Now for my real unpopular opinion, orbs are better than swirls. Look at Zapdos' beak. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's like he's pecking. A little resonance coming off his peck. Implode says, the older I get, the more I appreciate bizarre art styles like Kamiya's. So some might argue that this is because you are becoming more distinguished and knowledgeable in your old age. And others might just say that you're senile and blind, and that's why you like Kamiya's art. I'm going to go with the first option there. All right, Shining Dragonite has a paragraph for us, a light novel. Number 1, the shiny full arts for Hidden Fates and Shining Fates are mostly bland, squandered CG garbage that don't even bother trying to use original art. Ironically, the baby shinies have a lot more variety. W2F. Creatures has the money to pay talent to give us bangers, and instead we get literal recolors of existing CG cards. Lazy trash. If you're going to do a recolor, why do they all have to be CG? Digital art layers are brain dead easy to set up. Used all the time for literally any of the holographic cards. The only saving grace is that the VMAXs in Shining Fates have a decent holo effect that I kind of like. The Vs are bland garbage. So I kind of agree. The reused art is kind of lazy. It'd be nice if it was at least a different new CG art for the shiny. But people like it. People buy it. People like that. So that's what it ends up being. I'd kind of like to see reverses turn into shiny Pokemon or something. And you could just have all of your regular cards, but then the artwork for the reverse slot would be a shiny Pokemon. It'd be kind of cool. It might be a little bit too easy to pull, but at the same time, you don't want to make it so difficult that It ends up being another chase. So I don't know what the balance is there. And I'm sure we're going to see more of this CG turn the full art into a shiny full art and sell it as a whole new set. Number 2, Kanto and Johto had a beautiful cohesion of designs and atmosphere, but then Hoenn was a step down, and most of what was to come after was been a major step down. Even aside from the geography and lore, let's just talk about designs. Every time I look at the full Pokedex, I see so many forgettable monsters from the later generations that don't do anything for me or repulse me. Playing Pokemon Snap on the Switch, I had an audible reaction to many of the Kanto Hoenn monsters showing up, but very little feeling toward the rest. So I think this is just, you spent more time. I could be wrong. Maybe you spent the same amount of time with everything. Maybe you were in the age group at this point, and then you moved on, then you went back to it, so you don't have that same nostalgia for it. It's hard to say, but I don't know. I like all regions. I think the later Pokemon, just you need time to get used to them. Whenever there's new stuff that comes out, it always seems weird. There's a lot of odd design choices, and a lot of that is just getting used to the Pokemon, I think. And if you spend more time on the games, on the card game and everything else, watching the anime, I think it all kind of evens out. Dak says, Eevee is a cat. I know people are going to be upset by this. JJ says, okay, here it goes. I feel like I am coming out of the closet with this one. I hate Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but before you block me, let me explain. My first Pokemon game was Yellow. As a result, when Gold, Silver, and Crystal came out, it was the best of both worlds. I got a new world, and I could still come back to Kanto. Both worlds were so connected, which made it believable that they were right next to each other. Total of 16 gyms. I would wake up before going to school just so I'd try to catch Pokemon that were only available at night. There was no such thing as switching the time on your Game Boy, so if you played during the day, it was day. You played at night, the game was in night mode. Even the music changed based on the time of the day. I made the journey more realistic. So why do I hate Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire with a passion? First time I played the game, I was wondering why the heck the game stayed in day mode. I thought my game was damaged. There was no nighttime, only on that stupid jungle section where it rained all the time. Throughout the entire game, I thought I would eventually take a boat and see Johto and Kanto. Imagine my disappointment when that didn't happen. I know this sounds stupid, but that was just me as a kid. I mean, I traded Charizard for a Chansey, so I wasn't the brightest cookie. However, I still had hopes that eventually I would leave the hellhole of Hoenn and make it back to Johto and Kanto. And why the heck could I not enter the Pokemon nursery? That was another thing I could do in Pokemon Gold/Silver and Crystal. If my Pokemons are breeding, I have the legal authority of entering. Okay, my rant is over. By the way, this was only about the game, not the cards. This is funny. That's a good one. And I'm glad we took the time to read through the entirety of it. Yeah, I don't know. There's like certain gimmicks that are just, they have to leave them out or they have to move on to the next thing, which kind of sucks. It'd be cool if each additional game you could go back to the prior regions, but it's just not feasible. I mean, you can't have 3 regions, so maybe they just decided to cut it off. It'd be cool if you could go back to whatever the previous region was in each game, but maybe someday we'll get something where you can just travel to all regions. That would be pretty cool. Surprised they haven't done that with like a series of remakes, but Collector says, this is the pinnacle of handheld Nintendo consoles. I don't know what my favorite all time. I mean, I definitely have a soft spot for the OG big boy, thick brick, gray, plain old Game Boy. I remember it must have been near the end of its life cycle. It definitely was when the Pokemon games came out. And we immediately, both my brother and I, needed one right away. We needed red and blue. We needed to play. We went over to our neighbor's house. He had the Super Game Boy. We were playing on that. We needed our own carts so we could catch our own Pokemon. So, I don't know. For me, I don't think I could ever replace the nostalgia that was the big, thick boy, gray boy. But plenty of good consoles after that, handheld consoles. Seaside Pokemon says sticking your cards / slabs in the dirt / sand for an Instagram picture is not artsy or creative. It's just cringy. Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't totally get the pictures. People go out in the garden and they put their Bulbasaur on a plant to take a picture, but I guess that's what you have to do if you don't have big tids that you can place the card in between in order to get some likes on there. Last but not least, we have Collector, who says, I love the golden layout. It gives me nostalgic vibes from participating in online auction houses back in the mid-2000s. I disagree. I think the current auction houses need to update their format. The stupid buyer's premium crap. Why? Just... Oh, and the extended bidding. I don't have time for extended bidding. Get out of here. Give me some, eBay style auctions. Put in a max bid. Let it ride. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Join the Discord. See you next time.